Today we're unmasking a totally invisible but incredibly destructive force in human nature. This is a dynamic that's actively operating in your life right now, whether you realize it or not, and we're going to break down exactly how it works. So, let's not waste any time.
Okay, let's dive into this. Imagine researchers take two complete strangers and hand them a sum of money. One person gets to decide exactly how to split it, and the other person has only two choices: accept the deal or reject it entirely. But here's the catch. If they reject it, both people get nothing. And guess what? People consistently choose to walk away with absolutely nothing, just to make sure the other person gets nothing too.
Which brings us to the obvious question. Why on earth would anyone walk away with nothing? It completely defies all economic logic, doesn't it? But see, that's exactly the point. That's not logic operating there. That is envy. And it's a force that lives inside every single person you know. So the absolutely crucial thing here is understanding what envy actually is. Author Robert Greene famously calls it the nuclear bomb of human nature. We aren't just talking about a fleeting feeling of jealousy. It's a force so profoundly dangerous that ancient tribal societies literally had strict life-or-death rules just to prevent it from tearing their entire communities apart.
Part 1. The invisible threat. Success is a mirror.
I want you to take a second and really think back to the last time you had a huge win. Maybe you closed a massive deal, got a big promotion, or maybe you found a relationship that was just clearly thriving. You shared that amazing news with someone close to you, and when you told them, maybe you noticed this weird little phenomenon. For just a fraction of a second, right before the smile arrived on their face, there was something else, a quick flash, gone almost before you could even name it. Well, that was the exact moment you became a threat. You see, as Robert Greene discovered, your success is never neutral. It acts as a mirror, and when people look into that mirror and see themselves falling behind, it wakes up something ancient and ugly inside them.
Which leads us to a pretty jarring reality. The most dangerous enemy you have right now is probably someone who calls you a friend. It's essential to understand this, because the true danger of envy is directly tied to proximity. The closer they are to you, the more damage they can do. Let's move to and see how this actually builds across our evolutionary history. Thousands of years ago, in ancient hunter-gatherer societies, if a tribe member got a gift and didn't immediately share it, they weren't just punished, they were killed. Envy was a literal survival mechanism to stop anyone from getting too much power in a zero-sum world. And guys, this wiring never left us. Even chimpanzees do this. Hand a high-ranking chimp a grape while the others are watching, and within seconds, eyes narrow, bodies tense up, alliances fracture. Fast forward to today, and we see the exact same dynamics playing out in modern office politics. We're fundamentally just those same chimpanzees, we've just learned to hide it a lot better.
Part 2. The frenemy architecture. Smiling saboteurs.
And the people who hide it the best? They're already inside your inner circle. Robert Greene coined the term frenemy to describe someone who isn't a clear-cut rival, but is actively operating silently in your life, smiling right at you while they secretly undermine you. And this brilliantly illustrates how to spot them before it's too late. See, healthy relationships are inherently slow. Trust is built gradually across hundreds of tiny, everyday moments. But the frenemy, they're always in a rushed panic to get close to you. They don't have time to build slow trust. They want immediate proximity, because proximity equals access. And access, that gives them the ability to work on you from the inside.
They usually lock onto you when you're rising, praising the old version of you. But the moment you actually break through, the subtle comments begin. We call it the pebble effect. They'll drop things like, you've changed, Akea, or, I don't know, it just feels a little try hard, or maybe, I'm so happy for you, obviously, but are you sure about this? Each little comment is dropped like a single pebble, but over time, those pebbles build massive walls designed to quietly dismantle your confidence.
But here is the foundational psychological truth you've got to internalize right now. They are not actually talking about you. They're talking about themselves. Your success forces a reckoning that they are completely terrified to face. So they just spin a comfortable story. They tell themselves you sold out, or you just got lucky, or the system is rigged. They will do whatever it takes to avoid the one conclusion that truly terrifies them, the fact that they simply could have done more themselves.
Which leads directly into a very dark concept known as Schadenfreude. It's a German word for taking pleasure in another person's suffering. It's a really harsh reality to accept. But right now, somewhere in your own circle, there are people who will feel a quiet, secret relief the very next time something goes wrong for you. Just let that sit for a moment.
So, knowing all of this, what do you actually do about it? How do you protect yourself when the threat is hiding right in plain sight?
Part 3.
your psychological armor. Protect your trajectory.
We're going to focus on the specific, highly actionable tools you need to build up your defenses against this invisible threat. Because what you're about to learn is not just a clever strategy, it's a survival skill. If you want to keep rising in your career, your relationships, or just your own personal growth, mastering these upcoming techniques is absolutely crucial for protecting your trajectory.
Your survival armor comes down to two main weapons. Step 1 is the radar. You need to stop listening so much to what people say and start scanning what their face does before they speak. Specifically, you gotta watch the eyes. Step 2 is emotional withdrawal. When someone tries to subtly destabilize you with those little pebble comments, do not give them the emotional reaction they are so desperately craving. Don't show anger, don't seek revenge, just withdraw. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that exact number, 0.25 seconds. Narcissists and envious types often have really animated, expressive faces because they've learned that expressiveness builds trust, but they cannot fully control their eyes. There's a tiny, tiny window, about a quarter of a second, between the stimulus of your good news and their fake performance. In that micro moment, the mask slips, and you'll see a deadness in their eyes. Once you know to look for this 0.25-second slip, you're going to start seeing it everywhere.
And when you do see that mask slip, here's how you execute your emotional withdrawal. You need to burn this internal mantra into your mind. This is not about me. This is the echo of their pain. I am not responsible for managing it. Just repeat that to yourself until you truly mean it. See, their sense of power over you lives entirely in your emotional response. So by withdrawing, you deny them that power completely.
Because ultimately, in a world full of reactive people, composure is power. When you master this level of emotional control, manipulators actually become afraid of you. Not because you're physically intimidating, but because you've demonstrated something they just cannot comprehend. Total, unbreakable control over your inner world. They literally won't know what to do with you, and eventually, they'll just be forced to leave you alone.
Look, most of us were raised to believe in what we can call the rosy scenario. This naive idea that everyone inherently wants the best for you and that kindness is always the default. But clinging to that in an era of intense social comparison and status anxiety, that isn't optimism. It carries a massive price tag. Reality is a lot different. The world actually runs on perception, power, and all these unspoken dynamics that most people just flat out refuse to acknowledge.
Which leaves us with this final, really crucial thought. What you don't know about the people in your life is the most dangerous thing about them. The invisible threats are out there, operating silently. But now, you have the tools to spot them. So, will you finally see them? Think about that as you interact with your circle this week.